One Piece Episode 966. The Power of Legends, Roger vs Whitebeard. One Hit Oden. Hello everyone, welcome back to Top Shounen. The One Piece manga started its first chapters in 1997, and the One Piece anime premiered 2 years later. Over the 23 and 21 years of history, the One Piece manga and anime have become part of childhood for at least 2 generations. However, with the anime being much slower than the manga, nowadays, those who only watch the movie can watch Oden's flashback, about the battle between the two most powerful pirate crews of the old era, the Roger Pirates and the Roger Pirates. Whitebeard bandages. Accompanying that is the controversy, regarding the differences that the anime and manga show. Therefore, to accompany One Piece, Top Shounen, in addition to the story analysis, will also include some reaction anime, to explain the controversy of fans who only read manga, or just watch movies. As a follower of both, I think that manga and anime have their own good things. For example, the climactic battle between Roger and Whitebeard, with the help of sound and effects, becomes much more epic. Besides, of course, there are also limitations. For example, for an anime episode to have enough airtime, the producer was forced to add some segments that the manga does not have. This is the cause of many misunderstandings, and in fact there are some irrationalities on the anime, that I will reaction in today's video. Leaving aside Kozuki Oden's revival in chapter 1007 for the time being, we will arrive at the first reaction issue, about the anime One Piece episode 966, titled Roger and Whitebeard. Opening up to 2 minutes 46, still the familiar procedure, soundtrack, and summary of the previous episode. I see Oden naming the eel leper Momonosuke, to the delight of the Moby Dick. Next is the Pirate King Gold Roger holding the paper, writing about the samurai from the secluded country. He was always excited about the Wano Kingdom, as well as the samurai, and they will encounter in the next episode of the episode. Continuing, with the first scene of episode 966, Oden's father, Kozuki Shukiyaki, was seriously ill at the moment, the news that made the city of Hana flutter. Shukiyaki had summoned Wano's daimyo, entrusting the story. I want Oden to inherit the shogun, but Oden isn't here right now. In case we have any fate, we need to entrust it to one person until Oden returns. It is the person that Oden sees as his brother, is Kurozumi Orokai. If you need more info for this segment, it is Oda based on the true history of Japan during the Tokugawa shogunate. The general at that time, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, fell seriously ill, but his son Hideyori was still a child, so he sent 5 daimyo to come and entrust it. These 5 elders take turns regent, waiting when Hideyori matures, then hand over power. But after his death, the other members of the senior council could not stop Tokugawa Ieyasu's ambitions. 2 of Hideyoshi's top generals, Kato Kiyomasa and Fukushima Masanori, were initially determined against Ieyasu, but then turned to a power struggle with Ishida Mitsunari, the butler of the Toyotomi territory. This man had little respect for the generals, and the other 2 generals turned to Tokugawa Ieyasu's side. Hideyoshi's young son, and legitimate heir Hideyori lost the power his father once held, and Tokugawa Ieyasu was named a shogun after the Battle of Sekigahara. This corresponds to the fact that the 2 Kurozumi witches, Higurashi and Semimaru, assist Orokai, in usurping the power of the Kozuki clan. They have borrowed the hand of Kaido, in turn destroy the opposing forces. And finally there is a battle with the legitimate heir, Kozuki Oden with 9 red scabbard. This battle corresponds to the Battle of Sekigahara in history. Oden failed, Orokai from the temporary shogun, officially becoming ruler of the Wano Kingdom. And to do that, let's follow the flashback of the name Orokai. When he was a child he was pursued by people, just because he had the surname Kurozumi. This is the consequence of Orokai's grandfather assassinating other lords, to fight for power. Due to the birth of Kozuki Shukiyaki, the heir already exists, so the Kurozumi clan lost its chance to lead Wano. In the end, Orokai's grandfather was forced to perform seppuku, a samurai suicide ritual. The entire Kurozumi clan was also punished, lost all power, territory, and pursued and killed. Orokai runs to a deserted shrine, and meets Kurozumi Higurashi, along with Kurozumi Semimaru. Or did this guy escape from Wano, and gain the powers of the devil fruit? Semimaru eats the Bari Bari no Mi, currently owned by Bartolomeo. As for old woman Higurashi who has the power of the Maniani, after being killed by Kaido, the fruit is revived and Mr. 2 Bon Clay ate it. In addition, they also learn a lot about the outside world, meet characters with bloody face. For example, the faces you see, Sorceress Higurashi must touch them in order to transform. Who do you guys look like in this character? Try commenting to let me know, and I will have a video specifically about this hypothesis. Back in episode 966, after handing Orokai the Hebai fruit, the model of the bowl of the Big Beam, the sorceress Higurashi plotted to let him use weapons to associate with pirates outside the world, borrowing their power to take power. Force. In order to do that, Orokai applied to be a servant in the Lord Yasui Palace, his appearance now very similar to Blackbeard. Both of them entered under people they would kill later from childhood, and endured for many years. Old woman Higurashi also impersonating Oden, taking Orokai to Shikiyaki's place, letting him steal the treasury. After poisoning and killing Shikiyaki, Mrs. Higurashi continued to disguise herself as Oden's father, calling in to the other lords to pass the transmission to Orokai, to become the temporary shogun. Everything is quite easy to understand, as you know, so I will skip this part too, to come to the most interesting part. By the time his father passed away, Oden was still traveling around the 4 tanks with Whitebeard, and the Moby Dick suddenly saw the sea creatures fleeing in chaos. When Whitebeard sent the boat to the island, they continued to see that the beast on the island was also fleeing. Now we see that Izo has become a neighbor of the godfather. After his time on the ice, he admires him more, ignoring the fact that he had onion Oden before. Even Izo did not accompany Oden to Roger's ship as a god, but chose to stay in the Whitebeard pirates. But that's the story in the next episode, and now they are about to face a real monster. When the crew members were unable to understand what scared beasts, they thought they were monsters. Whitebeard's expression showed that he used the haki to observe, feel the enormous power on the island. Few characters were able to make him win CE. Whitebeard understands that his crew is about to face a fearsome foe. That person was Gold Roger. Roger crew was on the island at this time. They just destroyed a fleet of navy, not knowing by which idiot dominated, but dared to arrest him. Roger grabbed a dying man by the neck, and told him that if he wanted to arrest me, he should go and call Garp or Sengoku. Fighting with you is no fun at all. Looking closely on the anime, Roger's appearance is now extremely scary. It was the murderous intent he created that made both the beasts on the island and the sea run away in panic. It seems that he wiped out the Marines, kept exactly one name for the news, to challenge the government. And through his statement, Roger also confirmed that the Marines were only Garp and Sengoku as his opponents. In terms of strength, Garp and Sengoku are probably the same. Garp's haki is better, but the old Buddha has a mythical Zoan of physical buffs, mana regeneration and even shock waves. Not to mention that Sengoku is extremely intelligent, perhaps because of his high IQ, many people judge him in favor of his brain. His strength is not equal. But he is the only navy so far confirmed to possess the hegemonic haki, and together with Garp become the couple to balance Roger and Whitebeard among the pirates. Garp was just in charge of pursuing Roger, so they often fought more often. As for Sengoku at that time as an admiral, he was more bound by his position, so he didn't like to leave the headquarters when he left. In terms of strength, I rate these 4 legends as the same, but no one is inferior to anyone. Continuing with the developments on the island, Saint Buggy was observing on top of a tree, discovering the Moby Dick. The entire Roger crew gathered at the beach, preparing to welcome the enemy. Shanks was still very hot, still eating chocolate, but also eager to fight the Whitebeard pirates for the first time. However, his captain is the most eager. Not only did he have the chance to meet Whitebeard, but according to Roger was probably the last time, he also got the chance to see the samurai power being discussed around the world. Oden now ran as if flying to the position of the Roger pirates, despite the interference from his subordinates. He easily defeated 3 Roger crew members, with Ganmadari moves. With this rumored strength of Oden, Rayleigh and Gaban about to take action, Roger stopped him, wanting to personally engage the samurai. As soon as he saw Roger, Oden felt his power by haki. I smell beasts. However, the looking haki seemed to be still young. Oden's new mat hurriedly stormed the pirate king, and was slashed by him. Roger's move is called God Serpent. With just one blow, Oden was beaten away a lot, could not help and gulped. Controversy began to arise here, when many people assumed that Roger was stronger than Whitebeard. However, Edward Newgate is hailed as the strongest man in the world, while Garp and Roger both have children, meaning they are not Okama. So there's absolutely no way Whitebeard is weaker, it's just that Roger and Garp both have their own titles, so everyone honors Whitebeard's power with a different nickname. It is true that on the coast of Kuri, Oden and Whitebeard were fighting evenly, and when meeting Roger, Oden could not bear a blow. Furthermore, Oden set sail for a total of 6 years, minus 1 year according to Roger since the encounter with the 2 crews. This is already 5 years since Oden boarded the Moby Dick. Surely he has grown a lot, compared to when he solo with Whitebeard. But the time of arriving at the port of Kuri, the 44-year-old old father, was the peak period. There could not be such a big difference in power, between the 2 rival heroes. Whitebeard's weaker Oden, and the upgraded version was hit by Roger 1, which is the anime's shortcoming. This is explained as follows. Oden fought on a PAR with Whitebeard, because at that time the Moby Dick had just encountered bad weather, damaged and drifted onto the coast of Kuri. Now Oden was the one to rush in, take the initiative to attack first. Whitebeard simply intercepted. And as you can see, Godfather takes the hit very easily. In the manga the fight is over. After exactly 1 move, Oden asked to be allowed to join the band, and they stopped hitting again. But in the anime, in order to prolong the time, as well as a way to honor Oden in his flashback, the producers did more about the battle. Everything would be more perfect, if the battle was represented by swordsmanship, or Oden was blown away but was able to return to communication. Because the great players who want to win or lose will take a long time, making a sword battle with a blade will be better. But the anime features a scene where Oden takes a shocking punch in the face, unharmed. At the height of Whitebeard's peak, even Roger would have been wounded if he punched him head-on. It seems the anime honors Oden a bit too much. Then, when he was knocked flying by Roger, it caused controversy about the Pirate King's power over Whitebeard's muscle. But if we continue watching episode 966, we will see that they are not, but they are equal. Probably the producer also noticed that he was wrong in the previous episode. It is a tribute to Oden, so in the anime, after being blown away, Oden continues to return to retaliate against Roger, but sees Whitebeard jumping from above. In the manga, Oden ran away from Sandals, Roger was the one chasing. What the hell is this? Hey, I'm not done yet. Luckily, Whitebeard arrived in time, otherwise Oden would probably continue to eat onions, not go back and demand to fight the Pirate King. But this is just a small detail, not worth mentioning with the mix I said just now. Oden is not sure to defeat Rayleigh, let alone compare him with Roger and Whitebeard. It makes sense to compare him with the admirals. Kaido 20 years ago was not the perfect version as it is now, almost beaten by Oden at the top. It can be said that Oden possesses strength comparable to a quarter emperor. I think he will lose a bit if he fights Kaido at the moment, but he will either draw or win a marine admiral. Take for example Akainu in the headquarters, 72 years old Whitebeard, infected with the body and dozens of wounds, punching blood. And when Oden got a punch from Whitebeard during his prime, is it okay? Isn't it possible that when he hasn't reached his peak, Oden has surpassed the strongest admiral of the three admirals later? I think not. Oden was not able to eat at his peak when he was slashing Kaido, but Oden was not so much in curry when he met Whitebeard. This is the point that makes most fans difficult to read manga, then watch anime find it difficult to understand. However, those who only watch anime, should not argue with manga readers, because the two expressions are different. And the clash of Roger and Whitebeard is completely undisputed. This is the peak power of the legends. Previously, we only saw two strong-armed haki, or two hegemonic haki, that caused air fracture, with black streaks representing haki. However, Roger and Whitebeard were different, they just needed merit, infusing haki into the weapons to cause this phenomenon. That was due to the amount of haki, too thick, for it to leak to the outside, indicated by the black smoke surrounding the weapons of the two legends. At this point, both the manga and the anime portray the same thing. Roger and Whitebeard were just too horrible. When Whitebeard was old, he compared his technique to the Yonko at a full age. Shanks still split the sky, haki was equal. Or when Big Mom and Kaido were fighting, this phenomenon also happened in the sky of Oni Island. However, compared to Roger and Whitebeard at the peak, it is not a bit shabby. The four emperors' weapons, and even Whitebeard at the age of 72, had to touch to cut clouds. But he and the Pirate King during the peak, even the two people's weapons had not yet touched, caused even more shock than that. Trees, rocks were blown away, clouds in the sky were not split in half, but they were all banished, even the giant Moby Dick swayed, drifting out to sea. Here we can see, why even when Whitebeard was old, Kaido and Big Mom did not dare to stroke his face. And Buggy, seeing Ace fall asleep, stopped his subordinates, and specially advised him not to go out with Whitebeard's men under any circumstances. That was Whitebeard of the age of 72, and at his peak he would break Kaido's horn like some eel. Even Big Mom dared to resist, was a big belly. Simply because he was too strong, haki was too terrible. Like Roger, Big Mom and Kaido at their current peak could not keep up. The fact that the weapons had not yet collided caused that shock. It could be explained that their haki collided first. High-level armed haki can create invisible armor to protect the body, and Roger and Whitebeard have used the highest level of haki to cover their weapons. The haki was too dense and strong, so when the collision was like Kaido and Big Mom were hitting each other with weapons. This last scene of episode 966 is really pleasing, with the effects of the effects and sound, making the solo match of the two legends come alive, more attractive than ever. This is the best point of anime. In addition, I would like to discuss a little more about Gold Roger's sword. Perhaps it is also a great treasure. Because Whitebeard's great swords Murakumagari is also one of the 12 great treasure swords. According to Oda's explanation, the ultimate concept of the great sword is only katana in general, but in Japanese katana includes both a blade and a sword, so Whitebeard's big sword is also counted. With the same haki, too dense and strong of the two strongest characters in the world, it requires their weapons to be of the same level, to withstand impact. Unfortunately, at the moment I don't know where Roger's sword is located, but looking at the image when Roger left the train in chapter 969, we can't see him holding the sword on his side anymore. The ability was given back to Rayleigh, or given to Shanks with red hair. Anyway, he was given a straw hat by Roger, his sword is very similar to him, and above all, Shanks is the Four Emperor, and was once the rival of the world's #1 swordsman. If Shanks possesses the ultimate bar. Dai Baokim, I'm not surprised either. And looking back at Roger's fight with Whitebeard, I remember Luffy's grandfather. How is Garp's strength level? Will we be able to see the legend, a naval hero fighting hard? I will make a private video to send to you as soon as possible. Finally, the bad news, when both the anime and manga break, but I bet episode 967 of One Piece anime will be super good. The producer will definitely prolong Roger's duel with Whitebeard, and show what war period 3 days 3 nights between two crews. Those are the analysis, as well as explanation of the differences between the manga and anime, that I want to send you in the first digital reaction video. If I get good feedback from you guys, I will reaction more steadily than the One Piece anime. Do not forget to like and share to support Top Shounen. Goodbye and see you again.